When most people think about big woods and big timber, they think about vast areas, getting remote, getting away from people. And I'm no exception. I love getting way out there in the middle of nowhere. However, depending on what your goals are, a lot of the time the hunting is better closer to the road. In today's video, let's take a look at some of those roadside hotspots. A big part of the lure of big woods is going to remote areas, getting way back into areas where people don't go very often, where you feel one with nature. But in reality, once again, a lot of the time, the biggest bucks I find are near the road. A lot of times there's pockets of deer right alongside the road. Now if they're bedded alongside the road, you still need to have the features they need in a bedding area, and you still have to have an area that they feel safe in, that they have good escape in. And literally they'll use the road as an escape. You know, the wolves and stuff don't go near the road as much. The people don't go into woods near the road. It's hard to describe, but it really is an isolated place where not many people go. You get back into the bigger portion of the woods, and there are people that'll get everywhere. But in big woods especially, people think they got to be far off the road to get into deer. You don't necessarily have to do that. I can remember one hunt where there's a lot of does bedded on one side of a road, and the bucks would bed on the other side right where they would come across. And that was a heck of a spot, especially around rut. But it was right alongside the road, and cars would go by close enough you could see who was driving by. It was an interesting hunt, but I got into some pretty good bucks hunting there.
This point of woods that comes into this intersection, and you know it's shaped like a point, 90 degrees, and what I'm looking at is the prevailing winds also come from this direction. Prevailing winds are out of the west here, and we're looking northwest right now. So great chance of finding a buck bed, because the wind most often is coming from this direction out onto the roads. And you know, everyone, where they're going to hunt, you know, whether it's a metro area and they're accessing from private property, or if it's big woods even, where these road intersections are, they typically don't think there's going to be a buck bedded there, and everyone charges back farther into the woods, or they hunt closer to the road at the access point. But nobody comes down to the corner. Nobody thinks there's going to be deer here. And if you've got some water and ditches along this point that's created by the two roads, that just increases the security for the buck, and he likes it even better. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to walk into that point, and I'm going to look for the first heavy cover, first thick cover that I encounter. And I consistently find that when I walk up these points of land, that first spot of good heavy cover, I'll find a buck bed, and he'll lie down there with the wind at his back, and then be watching the road or the road intersections. And it's a great place to bed because nobody ever bothers them there. Nobody thinks there's going to be a buck there, and so there's no human scent. So let's see if we can get lucky today. Never been here before today. It's going out. That's the main trail coming down from the other road, parallels the other road. And then it T-bones that parallel trail that's going on the north-south road. So this is quite a spot. And what that means is, with all this deer travel on these parallel trails that parallel the roads, where they come together, I mean, this is a great spot for a buck to monitor all this deer traffic and watch all the people from the road. And nobody's bothering them here. And so I see this thicket, and those are old rubs. And bingo. There's a big buck bed right there. Worn to the dirt. And I can see other hares in the bed. And there's no fresh rubs from last fall in the bed, but look at these old rubs right in the bed. We're just off of the roads. And these old rubs. I actually look at that as a good sign. A lot of the older bucks won't rub much around their bed in this area, and you know, maybe I'll pick up a single rub 100 yards, 200 yards out somewhere. So with the prevailing wind, this was the most likely location from that intersection of roads for me to find the bed, because they're going to spend more time here because the winds are at their back more often. So they bed against this thicket with the wind at their back. They're looking out across that opening right there, and right where those two roads come together. And there's nobody set up here to hunt the buck. They're all over the landscape behind me and to the sides.
One thing I like to do is go down these roads and find bridges that go across river systems that connect sections of bigger woods and don't have parking near them. If you can get down into these areas and go down and look under these bridges and see if there's heavy traffic going underneath. If you hunt rut funnels, a lot of times those can be great spots. You just have to be far enough away from the road to be legal. But you'll see that a lot of traffic will go in between one woods and another, using those bridge underpasses to travel. Today's show was brought to you by Hunt and Beast Gear, the original mobile hunters. I was mobile before mobile was cool. If you like the show, hit the subscribe button. See ya.